Hello and welcome to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. I'm your host, Wendy Jones, and as you all know, each and every week, we do our best to bring pertinent information to you as you age, because guess what? We like to talk about the things nobody else likes to talk about. And yes, it's true. We all get older. Every year we have a birthday and every year we get older. But there's good news. We can do it gracefully. We can do it healthily. We can do it and embrace it, right? And enjoy it. Like, let's not fear it. Let's enjoy it. So my guest in the studio today is Karen Milam. Did I say that right, Karen? Yes. Okay. And she is Age Strong with Karen. And our topic is going to be wellness check-in. Wellness check-in, meaning where are you and where should you be? We're doing a little check-in, right, Karen?
Yes. We always want to check in with yourself, no matter what your age or who you have around you. But what I'm really excited about to talk about today is how do you check in with your wellness, and specifically in fitness and exercise. Right. So sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes we feel really fit, and other times we feel like we just don't know where to start. So I thought we could get together today and just talk about what are some things that you can do to check in with yourself periodically. It's springtime, and it's a great time to kind of sit down and think, how fit am I and how do I feel, no matter what your age?
Well, and honestly, some of you may be running a marathon at 85 that are listening to right now, and some of you may be not, right?
Yes, exactly.
But who cares?
Yes.
We just want to know, we're worried about you, each individual person, and where you're at. And I said that because I ran a marathon, and literally, I think he was 85, ran past me.
It.
If that wasn't motivation, I don't know what was. I'm like, that's it. Good. I can finish this race.
Right.
So for our listeners, how do we set that baseline to know where we're at
a really good spot? I'm going to just picture everybody at home. And what I encourage people that take classes with me or work out with me is randomly pick a time of the month, right? Like it would be a great day today. Put a stopwatch on for about 30 seconds, and you're going to stand up and sit down. And it doesn't matter if you do 18 of them or you do 5 of them. We just want to know where you're at today. I don't care if you used to be able to do a bunch of squats with weights. What is a great check-in today is to get a chair that you like or the sofa that you sit on, hit your timer, and stand and sit. And I would want you to actually sit. Don't get too freaked out about, should I tap? Should I squish the cushion? Sit down and stand up.
Simplify.
Right? We're not going to overthink it. Write it on a Post-it note. If you did 6 or 10, I just want you to have a baseline.
How many seconds are they setting?
About 30 seconds. So because we don't need it to be outrageous.
We're standing, sitting, sitting. And we just want to know how many you can do in 30 seconds. And it's not a competition.
Definitely
between
no
husbands and wives and friends. Okay, we worry about you only.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to do that right now. And we call it sit to stand, right?
Yes.
That's the name
definitely.
of it.
Yep. It's over all the fitness tests. It's over all
and that's your baseline.
For leg strength.
For leg strength. Okay.
So we're looking at starting with big muscles, the legs, and everybody wants to be able to stand and sit because we've got stuff to do. We're not going to overthink our form. We're not going to overthink, is my back in the right spot or my knees aren't supposed to go over my toes, because we're checking in with our wellness and we're checking in with functional movement. If you want to train and get into heavy weights and start doing some of that, that's different.
Yeah,
right?
We're not talking about that today.
We're talking about, I just want to know my baseline check-in, because what we don't want to do is end up in 2 months, find out you can't do as many. So we're saying today I can do X amount of stands and sits and leave it at that. And then go about your day. If you're finding that your legs can't carry you like they used to, then we'd say, let's do that every day. Every time you get up from eating, stop and do 4, 6, whatever you did for your 30 seconds, do that many repetitions. Now you're into actively strengthening your legs, right? So there's ways to take that baseline and do what they're calling exercise snacks, where you just sprinkle in a few stand and sits. And you think, oh, I'm going to have a snack. I might as well do my exercise snack.
Love it.
And that's your baseline. If you did 6 in 30 seconds, do 6. If that next day you can do maybe 10, then do 10.
So legs is important.
Legs are very important.
And that's why we're starting with the stand, the sit to stand.
Yes.
Okay. And then what's another baseline test that we can check on?
So when we're thinking of checking in on wellness and basic moves that are going to help us functionally at a good level, we also want to look at our upper body strength. And I love a good wall push-up. You put your hands up against a wall, right around armpit height, walk a little bit away from the wall, bend your elbows, don't bump your head. Right? And push yourself up. And if you do bump, you probably once or twice and you figured out, I should probably stop myself. Some of you are going to think, oh my gosh, this is so easy. And you'll find out that you're going to feel a lot of activation in the arms because I need you to be able to push yourself up and off the floor. I need you to be able to, when the knees hurt or your back's a little twingy after gardening, push yourself up and off the chair. So you might as well check your wall push-up. Did you get some arthritis in the thumb that you weren't aware of? Are your elbows a little tender, a little inflamed today with some arthritis? It's gentle and it's safe. So no one's going down on the ground and cranking out military push-ups.
No.
For wellness check-in, pop up to the wall, press yourself up and down, 30 seconds. How many did you get?
Okay.
Baseline.
And write it down.
Yes.
So we have a little chart
right?
and we know where you're
video. If you're tech savvy and you love your phone, pop the video, flip the camera, and video yourself. Because then you're like, wow, I look good. You're like, oh my gosh, I have a really good wall push-up. Or just count them out. Okay?
Yep.
It's a great baseline of how you feel, right? Because once you start thinking about how I can build on my strength and stamina and fitness, you're going to take those two things, lower body, upper body, and I could create a whole workout.
So the reality is we want to be healthy longer.
Definitely.
We want to be able to use our muscles in our legs, use our muscles in our arms through till our 90s.
Well into our 90s, 100%.
Let's just say.
And we're going to work on that because we want to be independent and we want to feel good in your body. And movement is going to change your mood. So if you're a little cranky today or things aren't feeling good, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to do that wellness check-in, remembering movement is good for arthritis. Find a good time of day. The more you can move and lubricate the joints and get the blood flow and get the fluids flowing, it's going to flush out all the scar tissue. It's going to move that arthritis off that joint and you'll feel better. But I know it's hard when you're sitting there thinking, no way is that going to make me feel better. But if you do it a couple times, once you do your check-in and you say, I can do some stand and sits and I can do some wall push-ups, now you've got two great exercises to help you garden and clean and do laundry and feel good and go to the mailbox. And then everything's going to feel better.
And you can do these at any age right now.
100%. You want to really think about the future you. And this baseline is going to say to you, all right, this seems easy today. Well, if I'm 72 and I don't have a problem standing and sitting, that's great. Put it down because when you're 92 and you've put this into practice, you're going to be cranking them out at 92. We have to start thinking about longevity and what do you want to be like when you're 85 or 95? We used to think about what type of 20-year-old you wanted to be or, oh, I want to be that 40-year-old corporate person or I knew what I wanted to be. Then we hit 65 and it's kind of like, I don't know. Well, you want to be fun, you want to be open for business, and you want to learn and grow. And the only way you're going to do that is if you can move around.
And honestly, when you have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, you want to be able to carry them.
You do.
You want to be able to get on the ground and talk to them.
Definitely.
And then get back up.
Yes. And the great thing with, if you do blessed with some grandchildren, or even you get a little puppy or dog, I tell all my clients, funny story, they get bigger. So you might be telling me, I don't want to go up in my hand weights or I don't want to lift too many heavy weights. And I ask you, well, your puppy was 11 pounds and now your puppy is 26 pounds. Have you prepared yourself for that? The grandchild starts out at 6, 7 pounds, but by next Christmas, you're picking him or her up. And this is not a 6-pound baby anymore. Have you prepared your muscles for it? So those are functional things that we can do by checking in today and saying, how is my strength? How's my body?
And I have heard numerous interviews on how mobility and exercise is the number one thing, really, truly, to better health for the future. And all of the different chronic diseases, when you're thinking of Alzheimer's, when you're thinking of ALS, when you're thinking of COPD, anything.
Yes.
Congestive heart failure.
Right.
It all starts with if we move and we're active and we've got circulation going on in our body, our muscles are being activated.
Yep. 100%. And your mind is being activated. What we need to do is convince you and encourage you that today's the day to check in with your wellness, prepare for the future you, and believe us and have faith that you're going to feel better and move better by activating your body.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and you are all going to do your sit to stand for 30 seconds while you're listening to the commercials, and your wall push up for 30 seconds while you're listening to the commercials.
Perfect.
And you and I are going to do them too, Karen, okay? Because we all need a baseline, and I encourage you to write it down and track it.
Yes.
And see if you're getting stronger, because your muscles are important. Your body was created so that we can do the things that we want to do. And this is the beginning. You're listening to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging, and we're going to be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. And one of those conversations is all about your wellness. So we are doing the wellness check-in, and our topic this segment is going to be functional fitness. So first, I hope everybody did their sit to stand and their wall push-ups. Because we're going to mark those down and we're going to track with us. This is an encouraging show. So functional fitness, talk to us about what functional fitness is, Karen.
So in the fitness industry, if you follow it or if you don't follow it, it's always changing and it can be very confusing. When we look at aging, what's really resonating with people of all different fitness levels is functional. No matter how good you are in a gym, if you can't unload your dishwasher, that doesn't feel very good. So our goal, encouraging everybody as we get older, is to make sure our functional movements are spot on. We have good technique. We have good form. We have good mental toughness. Washing the walls, getting dressed in the morning, gardening, taking out the trash, all skills that we should be able to perform, getting up and down off the floor without panic, without pain, and without thinking, oh boy, here goes my independence. I have to wait for someone to come over and then kind of coax them into, hey, can you bring that water in from my car? Or I just sort of left this pile of, things on the steps that I was hoping
someone
next
could
one
carry.
could carry for me, right? So I would love to encourage our listeners to say, okay, functionally, what do I have going on? How can I do the things I love to do, keep my independence, and feel good about them? And getting up and down off the floor is one of those tasks that we either really love and do effortlessly, or we're kind of starting to dread.
Well, and I think we should talk about that. Let's talk about how to safely get off the floor as we age.
Good.
Because the reality is we don't need broken hips and broken knees and trouble. So talk us through what that looks like.
Okay. So the first thing we want to say, if you're listening and you've been somewhere and you heard someone say, whatever you do, don't fall. Like, we have to get past that first. It's okay to stumble in the garden and tip over. The problem is we lose our confidence and we feel like we can't get up and we look silly and foolish and our butt's up in the air and we're a little intimidated. So functionally, we want to get past that. We want to say, I've got a plan. If I'm pulling a weed and it's really hard and it puts me on my butt, it's okay. But for some reason, when we're 65, 75, 85, it doesn't become as fun as it was when you were 30, tripping in a garden or stepping off of a step weird. So getting up and off the floor is a skill. It's a kind of tricky, and you don't get to do it just because you used to be able to do it. You have to practice it. So for those of you
we're practicing right now. Everybody on the floor.
Try to figure out what does your mind say if we said, hey, come on over to my house and we're going to eat our snacks on the ground today in the backyard. Would you be like, no, thanks. I'm going to stay at the picnic table. So you want to know, does it give you a little panic? Are you already nervous? Are you like, I don't even know my sit position. I just kind of plop down there and then hope for the best. So you want to start safely at home. And believe me, if you're thinking, I'm not going to get on the floor today, that's fine too. We just want to know your baseline. You always want to keep a chair, a coffee table next to you, right, for support.
Something sturdy.
Yeah, because we've all maybe
not
been
a folding
there where
chair.
we have to use something because our knees are a little achy. Yeah, definitely no folding chairs. You might even have to crawl over. You might sit down on the ground to dust something or get something in a cupboard and realize, I can't quite get up. I'm going to have to crawl to that dining room chair and push myself up. So practicing it, bending at the knees, using the chair for support, getting down on your bum, thinking about how you feel. Did it make you feel a little dizzy or queasy? Is it some blood pressure issues we need to deal with? Because going from standing to laying down, we can always have something. I think when we talk about it, I just want to encourage you, it's not as easy as you think, and that's okay. It's a big move, and unless you start doing it now and put it into your day, you don't want to wait 10 years and then think, I haven't gone down on the floor. Well, you're going to have to practice bending, maybe just getting one knee down, then coming back up. Maybe we don't go all the way down onto your bum the first time. So it's about looking at it as a skill, not something that is either all yes or all no, if that helps those listeners, right?
So I've been told, so if you're laying flat, let's say you fall and you're laying on your back and you're all the way down on the ground. I have been told to roll over.
Yes.
Number one, roll over, because our stomach muscles, if we try to sit up, aren't what they used to be. So you roll over and then you use your legs and your arms to get up on all fours, like you're crawling.
Yep.
And that's when, from that point, if you have something near you, you can grab to pull the rest of the way up.
Yes.
Or you use those leg muscles we've been talking about to push up from there.
Definitely. And it sounds cute and doable until you're the one on the floor and you realize I'm like a little dead bug. Like I can't roll on my left shoulder because maybe my left shoulder is a little tight. And oh my gosh, I don't have enough momentum and core strength to coil up and get on my side. So we have to understand that once you get down there, you might feel a little stiff. It might take a couple of
practice
tries,
runs.
A couple, right? And so we're practicing it. It's not going to feel perfect or might not spring right up, but the challenge and that fitness, that wellness check-in is like, oh my gosh, I got down there. I should have been able to just get right back up, but I realized, wow, that took a second. I really had to think about it. The knees can be tender, and that's why we want to check in with ourselves periodically. Don't wait a year or 6 months to get onto the floor. We should be having that baseline, right? Just like we talked about our stand and sits, our wall push-ups. So if we know, gosh, I can't get off the floor, I can't even get down, then we know we're going to work at it. But once you get down there, if it works out good, every night get down on the ground. If it's easy for you now, it'll continue to be easy if you stick with it. If you've taken 20 years off, we're not going to get it in one day. We're going to have to slowly put that in. That's your exercise snack. Sprinkle it in, right? But if you're getting it and you got down today and you went, look at me, I'm a hot shot, then you want to keep it. So when you're 95, there's no reason you can't get down. The reason you can't is because we stopped practicing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So we don't want to give up.
So we care about you and the future you.
Yes.
And we want everybody, whether you're 65, 75, 85, doesn't even matter.
Yep.
We want you to do this so that you can practice. And again, have a sturdy item next to you.
Definitely.
So you can use that to pull or to push
and
as
there's nothing
needed.
Wrong with that.
As you're practicing.
Right.
But eventually, we would love you to be able to do that independently.
Yes. And we have to understand that in our culture, when we look around in our area, other people go down and up in their 90s and their 100s with no issue, but we tend to prop our seniors up on the couches with pillows and arms on the chairs. And no, don't do that. I'll do it for you, or let me get that out of your hands. So we need to have that person around you where you go, oh my gosh, that guy at church goes down on his knee and gets communion and gets right back up. Like, we need to look around and have those encouraging moments in society where you think, I want to be that person, right? Not say, nope, it's, people don't get down on the ground, because they do. We just need to find them.
So the functional component of that is the things that you want to do, you can continue doing, like emptying the dishwasher.
Emptying the dishwasher, hinging at your hip, going down in that low cupboard or that vegetable drawer where you've got something really smelly and you want to find it in the refrigerator, but it takes a minute to get it. I don't want you to pull a chair up and sit in front of that refrigerator and look for that yucky piece of cucumber that you didn't eat. I want you to squat down, maybe get on a knee with a pad under your knee and get in that refrigerator, clean it out, and then throw it away. But a lot of times what will happen functionally, we'll have to sit on a step or a bench because we can't quite do it. And I love good fitness tools to help with gardening and cleaning, but I don't want you to think that's your end game. Like there's more to it, right? We want to get down and play with the dog. We want to get down and play with the kids. You might want to get down and dust a baseboard, right? Because that's what you love doing.
Mm-hmm. And you want to be able to pull the pan or the big, huge pot out of the bottom of the drawer and lift it up and put it on the...
Not everything can be at that one perfect height. Some things are going to have to be stored low. And I want you to feel good about it. What we want for you is to not have to say no to the things you love, right? So if you want to do some gardening or you want to get down onto the floor, we want you to be able to do it.
And for those of you, this is just a simple functional thing I'm thinking about, changing the sheets.
Oh my gosh, definitely.
Lifting a mattress is pretty much impossible.
Yes.
So the stronger your arm strength is, the easier it is to pull those sheets off and put them underneath.
Because we all know that fitted sheet is not easy and that core strength, right? I would probably say we don't flip our mattresses anymore. And I know my older clients are like, I'm going to flip that mattress. They kind of make them now where they're not, do you know what I mean?
They don't need to be.
Right, but that was a big deal. To my clients that are like 80s and 90s, like that was a lifestyle. You flipped that mattress and you knew how strong you had to be. But yes, having pride and being independent and strong is what that functional fitness is about. Going and buying your own bag of mulch, going and getting a little case of water. I need you to be able to grab it, put it down. I think one of the biggest functional things is that grocery cart, how deep it is. It's fun to pile of stuff in at Costco, but funny story, you got to pull it out.
It's true.
And then you have to put it in the trunk of the car. So functionally, with your leg strength and your upper body, checking in with your wellness before you go out and perform a task.
It truly is priceless. I 100% agree with you. And being able to do these things easier is going to mean the world to you as you age, especially if you're right now, if you're in your 60s, 70s, and you're listening to this, we're talking about you when you're in your 90s.
Yes.
So this is your future. And we want you to go to Costco when you're 90. Okay. You don't have to not go. You're listening to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. You're listening to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. I'm your host, Wendy Jones, and our topic today is Wellness Check-In. And we have Karen Milam here, and she is with Age Strong with Karen. And she is giving us so much fantastic information because as we age, we want to be healthy. We want to be able to do the things that we want to do. We might not be running a marathon at 85, but that's okay. If we can pull our stuff out of the Costco cart, we're doing pretty darn good. So I want to transition into more of your heart health in this segment, if we can do that, Karen. So talk to me a little bit about your heart muscle and how we, build that, so to speak.
We want to have a healthy heart. And we want you to feel good when you're moving around. And what happens when we're thinking functionally, right? So we want you to feel good when you're taking your walk. We want you to be able to talk on the phone, sing a song, and have a real good purpose in your movement. So you might just think, well, I get up, I get dressed, I move around the house. Okay, that's fine. I like that, right? But when you're thinking, I want to challenge my heart. I want to think about my cardiovascular system. I want to push it a little bit, but I want to do it safely. So not everybody's going to want to go and run a sprint or go to the track, and that's fine. So we all like walking. We all live in Michigan, so we have
not everybody. Some people are listening.
Yes.
Some people are listening in a nice, hot, beautiful state right now, but it's okay.
Yeah. So where we're at, we don't always get to go outside, or maybe your weather is too hot. So I can't always tell everybody, get outside. So what we need to do is move and walk with purpose. So what I like to tell people to do is measure yourself. Find out how many steps does it take me to get from point A to point B. So if I'm not one that really wants to go to a park or a track, I'll use functional benchmarks. Okay, I get up, I'm going to walk out my front door and walk to the edge of my driveway, the edge of my street, 3 houses down, 2 mailboxes down, and I'm going to count my steps. Just like when we did our baseline check-in with our 30 seconds, I don't need you to go walk for 3 hours right now. I just want to know, I never thought about it, right? Like, count your steps. Does it take you 55 steps to go 3 mailboxes, depending on what your distance is?
Okay.
And then that's your baseline. Did you feel like you were walking really slow? Okay.
Are you breathing heavy?
Yeah. Yeah. Did something catch you off guard? And you're like, wow, I used to be able to go from my parking lot into my building and never have an issue. Then all of a sudden 5 years go by and you're carrying the same, briefcase or water bottle. And you're like, wow, I went to talk to someone and I had to almost lean up against a car. So we want that functional mindset again. We're testing everything and assessing every minute of the day. Like if you lived with me, I'd be like, hey, how many steps did it take you? And I don't mean get your, monitors on. I mean, in your brain, count them and be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It took me 40 steps on a good day. Oh my gosh. On a bad day, it's taking me 85 steps. So
you're just taking smaller steps is what you're saying.
You're smaller, you're slower, something's going on. You're not in the moment of, oh my gosh, I forgot I'm here for my wellness walk. I better speed up a little bit. So the purpose is, if you go out to think, I need to work my heart and I want to do some cardiovascular activity, my doctor told me I should be walking more. It's good for brain function. It's good for body movement. You can't go out and go at a snail's pace all the time. I like to tell people, if I'm going to put you on a fitness walk and we're just starting, I like to go 7 minutes in one direction, turn around and come back.
I think that's a great start. My opinion. Yeah. But let me just add, because this is a good spot to put it. Please have good shoes.
Oh,
please.
Definitely.
Okay. I need really good, solid tennis shoes with laces and tied tight, because there's a lot of people that think they can do this in flip-flops or in shoes that don't have a back heel, those cute little ones. Yeah. Not for this.
Not for your wellness walk, right?
This is too important.
Yes.
We need good tennis shoes.
Yeah. And it's a mindset. When you're doing your fitness walk, you're not going to a baby shower, you're not going to lunch with friends, you put on your supportive shoe and you're saying, I'm going to go get healthy, mind and body. I'm not going to just, flip-flop around. So definitely we want that good shoe. And you want to set a goal that's doable. Right? For mental health, we need about 22 minutes to get all the cortisol and all the blood flow. So we don't need to be out for 3 hours anymore, and we don't need to go sprint as fast as we can. What I want you to do for functional aging and just that nice baseline is set a time, 7 minutes, one direction, turn around and come back. And you're like, wow, I'm doing that, and I'm feeling good.
And see how you feel.
Yes.
And then the next day, see how you feel.
Right.
And the next day. And even if you can't do it every day, do it the days you can do it.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that. And then also, if you have, the Apple Watch has a fantastic outside walk app, right? And you can actually push that and monitor how long you've been walking, and it'll even give you your heart rate.
Yes.
So there's things like that you can use as tools just to see how you're doing.
And they're supposed to motivate you. If they make you feel bad, then we got to use something else, right?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. I want you to feel good about moving in your body and knowing that you're helping your heart get stronger. One of the other really good exercises to get that heart pumping is a calf raise. Even us sitting in the chair right now, we can lift and lower our heels, and that helps pump the blood to the heart. And we love our hearts. So we want heart health. Walking is great, but I know some of you guys are like, you know what? By the end of the day, I have good intentions, but I just can't seem to fit in a good walk. Periodically in between, we talked about those exercise snacks, up and down on the ball of the foot. Standing is wonderful. Those would be like standing calf raises. But sitting in our chair, lifting and lowering the heels, they're studying that calf raise for active aging and longevity on a great way to help stabilize blood sugar, pump blood to the heart, and it doesn't always have to be, painful. So moving the legs, walking, heel lifting are all great ways for you to say at the end of the day, I did something good for my future self and my heart.
Is there any other small things like that they can do for their heart?
If you want to stay inside or you work a lot or life just isn't really working for you to have to get outside, moving around the house. You have to motivate yourself, but just saying, you know what? I sat in my meeting. A lot of us are working from home if you're listening and you're still working. So you have to get up, step side to side. Lateral movement. It doesn't have to be, 7 minutes in one direction.
So just
back.
side,
just
sidestepping.
Mm-hmm. Mixing things up to challenge your brain and get blood flow and things pumping to the heart.
Right.
So important is thinking about how am I moving my body? And we're always going to want to walk because we want to be able to get up and feel good in our bones and our body. And a lot of the benefits of walking because people are always talking about it. But managing it and thinking about, it's working my heart.
Well, and if you can continue to move a little faster as you're, in a month or whatever, after you've kind of built those muscles and built your heart, you might realize you can do the 7 minutes there and back in less time because you're getting stronger and your heart is getting, it's a muscle just like your muscles in your legs.
Yes.
So you are actually using your heart as a muscle the way it was designed.
Right. And once we start swinging in the arms, then it's coordination. Those arms
so talk to us about the
swing.
arms.
When you look at other people moving around, because remember, as we're aging and we're getting stronger, we're going to find people that we like. We're like, wow, I love how that one lady's always walking and her posture looks good. Her chin is up. She's looking out in front of her. She's not shuffling and her arms are swinging. So you're going to practice that. Oh, I want to be able to swing my arms. That's your core strength. That's your balance. And that's a lot of brain function.
So as we age, do our arms stop swinging?
Because it's going to make us a little tippy and a little nervous. Because those long levers, those long arms could potentially knock us over a little bit or make us
stumble. So you're
going
to practice.
Yeah. So you want to go, that's so funny. I haven't really taken some good pumping arm swings.
And pay attention to your spouse, maybe, listeners, and see, as they're walking, are they moving their arms easily?
Right.
And mention it to them. Say, hey, you're not moving your arms when you walk.
Because, they love to hear from us.
Of course they do.
I know. We're always like, I wish my spouse would
You're putting on a few pounds. What do you recommend for people who are kind of hunching over as we age? Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, a lot. And it's all of us, right? So what I like to think about is, again, we're back to that mindfulness. I'm going to go out for my wellness walk. I'm going to roll my shoulders. Let's do it right now. If you're listening to us and you're kind of clinching, roll the shoulders back. And what my favorite thing is to pull the elbows back and pinch those shoulder blades together. You want to think heart open. So before I start a class or before my clients and I go for a walk, we walk outside and you kind of lift like you just made something really good in the oven. Like, it smells so good, right? Garlic and onions. Open up your heart, pull your stomach muscles in. And then before you take that first step, your posture's lifted, your ears are over your shoulders, and your brain says, I'm excited. Something fun's about to happen. And then you can take that first step and go for your walk.
Yeah, and I encourage you to keep your chin up.
Yes.
Because a lot of us tend to look down and it's not good posture walking with your head down.
Correct. Yeah. We always think, but I don't want to trip on an acorn or a crack if we're outside. You want to look about a couple feet in front of you so you're prepared for the crack or the little bit of, elevation change. Well, I don't want any surprises. So if you look down at your feet the whole time, it's not going to help you. You need to look around, assess what's out there, and then be like, I'm ready for that. I'm going to move away from
And there are some supports you can get, like a little halter type thing as you age, if you really find yourself forward, right?
Yeah.
You can get those on Amazon.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool little posture gadgets that you can do.
Lots of fun stuff.
Or you can just use your own muscles.
We're going to be back in just a moment. Thank you for tuning into Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. Our topic today is Wellness Check-In, and Karen Milam is our guest today. Did I say that right?
Yes.
I know. I'm feeling like I said it wrong this time. Okay, and what is so great about Karen is you can find her on YouTube.
Yes.
And tell them how to locate you, Karen,
so
on YouTube.
If you like YouTube and if you look up Age, AGE, Strong, with Karen, I'll pop up, and I have really helpful videos for seniors, specifically 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, exercises on there, and they're very educational and functional based. So it's not just me up there with music on. It's really designed to educate you on proper technique and movement.
And we've talked about a lot of things, but one of the things we haven't talked about yet is breathing.
Yes.
And breathing is important. And I'm curious if you've seen this. As people age, do they breathe shorter and faster? It feels
those
like
shallower, smaller breaths. And I think with COVID, everybody got with masking and then afraid to cough or take a deep breath. It was always just like, so I feel like, especially after that, lung function, respiratory function, everyone got a little bit timid in group settings, especially to take those big inhale and exhales. But I feel a lot when we're aging, we're just quieter in life sometimes. So we're not the noisy breathers. But what I like to think about with our breathing is, one, it helps relax us. But two, again, if we're talking wellness check-in, let's check in. Can we breathe? Now, I'm not talking about everybody go out and do this, but there was a trend a couple years ago with blowing up balloons in those bigger gyms, like if you're familiar with CrossFit or big
Lifetime.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They were doing, can young people in their 20s blow up a balloon for respiratory function? If you haven't blown up a kid's balloon lately, they are not easy to do. So don't go try to blow up a balloon because it's challenging. But what we want to know when we get older is, can I take that deep breath, and not get over think about it. Like, is it in through my nose and out through my mouth? I encourage people before they start their movement for the day, or before you walk into that meeting or that doctor's appointment, in the car, take a few good breaths. I love a good 4 count in, 4 count out.
I like it.
If you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, that would be nice, because we're probably about 2 in, 2 out.
Oxygen is so critical.
It's so good. And it makes you feel better, and your lungs will expand, and that's important. You might feel it through your ribs. You might feel it in your diaphragm. You might be breathing more in your chest. So don't overthink it, but find those moments during the day where you say, you know what? I'm going to do 4 or 5 really mindful breaths. And even if you sound like on the exhale, it should be like you're fogging up your glasses. That would be really good. And if you do a little cough at the end, it's fine. That's actually good. You're like squeezing that little breath out.
Okay, that's very good. I like this. And what about music and dancing? I'm just going to say that because I think we can make it fun, right? Fitness is fun. Fitness
should be, and for those of you who are like, whoever said fitness was fun? Well, what the trend, and that's so funny that you mention it, is a lot of fitness trends right now are choreographing to music, because we're pretty bored with yoga, Pilates, and everything being kind of stagnant. So the new trends are yoga flow or cardio dance. Zumba, of course, had its moment, and Zumba is still really popular. But for me, if I'm encouraging aging and you want to be fun and fit in your 90s and 80s, find some time during the day to put on music. And I don't care if it's slow music, something that you like, and then you're going to notice your body's just tapping to it, or you're kind of strolling around the house.
And all of a sudden you feel better too.
You do. And you might know the words, and you might start singing along. And now you have breath work, right? You have heart function because your lungs are working and you're moving. So we talked about a little bit of that walking. Put on music. It might be a 2-minute song, a 3-minute song. So if I have people that I know resonate with music, their challenge would be 2 or 3 songs. Stand up and move around for 2 good songs. And that's a really good movement.
Workout. Yes. Absolutely. And I think the key really, and just kind of summing it up, we have 6 minutes left in the program today, is everybody needs something different.
Yeah.
So what is it that charges your battery? What is it that, do you need to go to a fitness class and physically drive there and be with weights and other people? Or can you do it by yourself?
Right. So, and there's so many options out there. And what I find fascinating is the psychology of exercise and what we want to give ourselves permission to for you, right? Because we're talking to you, the listener, about what do you want today? Not what you were 20 years ago. So my background's in ballet. I haven't really performed in a long time, so I can't really say I'm a ballerina anymore. So I have to find something else.
But we're not.
Right. So I feel like, would you do a silver sneakers class online? Would you look for something in Parks and Rec? Like, how do you go about finding your niche? Yeah. And it's going to change, and giving yourself permission to say, I never thought I'd be that person taking that class. Well, now in your life, you might be enjoying that type of class.
And just so everyone knows, Silver Sneakers is a program designed by Medicare, I believe.
Yes.
Right? And so anyone 65 and older who's on Medicare can take advantage of Silver Sneakers.
Right. And they've been around a long time. And I feel like everyone enjoys that name, Silver Sneakers.
It's cute.
You know,
they
and
did
you might think, I never thought I'd be in that age bracket. But what we like about programs like that is they do understand aging, which means we understand joint replacement and joint function. We understand blood pressure changes, medication changes. We also understand when we're trained with 50 and over clientele, certain movements, overhead presses, your heart rate might change. I'm aware of you in the class. If I'm just sitting with a bunch of 20-year-olds and we all have our sports bras on, I don't need to worry about that so much with them, right? But when I'm training my 50 and overs, I'm looking for specific age-related exercise parameters. So it might be a good idea if you're feeling like, wow, I don't know why anyone would go to a Silver Sneakers versus just the 9:00 class at my gym. It does have a different instructor's mindset.
So I do want to encourage you, because Karen has an amazing YouTube channel where you can get different. Tell us about what's available on your YouTube.
So I do a lot of educational videos where you could work out with me at home. If you're local, or even if you're not local and you want to call and just get my advice on, I want to try this program or that program. I do a lot of consulting through Zoom. So sometimes someone might have a mom or a dad that needs to start a program and they're just not sure what one to do. I can kind of help them. The other thing I help with is just getting you ready. Sometimes people have to work out before they go to the gym, not because the gym isn't good for them, but they just don't have the confidence. So sometimes working with me a couple of times, either in person or through Zoom, I can help you figure out what kind of weights you want to do, what's a good class for you, give you some of the basic terms so that when you walk into a specific class like a yoga or Pilates or
have
bar,
more confidence.
Yes. You know what to do.
So what's the best way to reach you?
You can email me at agestrongwithkaren@gmail.com, or you could call me at 248-227-5702, or text me. I'd love to chat with you.
5702 is the last word. Okay. Yeah. And so if any of you are thinking in your head right now, why would I do this? What I'm going to challenge you is, why not?
Yes.
Why not? What do you have to lose? You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain, because as you age, you're going to feel more confident. You're going to look more confident. You're going to meet more people. You're going to be able to raise your arms. In fact, everybody do this with me right now. Raise your arms above your head and see if your arms are equal to your ears. If you can't do that, you're already losing mobility. If you can't raise them back,
correct.
Those are things that we want to be able to move our shoulders, move our arms.
Yes. They're really looking at movement as medicine, because so many of our younger people are sedentary in their work style and in the college studying and things like that. So as we age, we also don't want to become sedentary. So what we like to think about are weird things like your armpits. Show off your armpits. Reach your arms up. Move around. I think what you were saying, Wendy, about why not, let's not overdo it. Let's think small and sprinkle them in throughout the day. You don't have to spend 5 hours at the gym if that's not what you like to do, but you can do your stand and sits and know that you've done enough. Because some people wonder, when is enough enough?
Right.
I golfed. Is that enough? You know, I went and gardened. Isn't that my exercise for the day? If you feel good with it and your body's responding well, but if you know that you're slowing down or you've got some issues that you know you should be taking care of, then you've got to step in and you've got to start working.
So I also wanted to share a tip of the day, and that would be find an accountability partner.
Yes.
Find a friend, somebody you know, and just talk about this conversation. And maybe say, hey, where are you at? Where are you at? And just somebody that you can walk with, somebody that you can do things with, even if you're on Zoom, like you said, whatever it takes. And you can also find Age Strong with Karen on YouTube. And then lastly, really quick, this radio program is going podcast. So I just want to encourage you to go to your favorite podcast platform and to look for Next Steps #4 Seniors. And you can subscribe and share it. Share it, because so many people need to hear this information. We're about to have more seniors than ever before in history in our country. And we want to age gracefully. We want to be strong and healthy. We want to live long lives. So why not share this podcast, encourage others, definitely, to reach out and make a difference in your life. You're listening to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging with Wendy Jones.